Today on the channel I'm going to show you how to play the song Won't Get Fooled Again by The Who, but in the style of Van Halen. Yeah, man, The Who, Van Halen, two combinations that cannot be beat, in my opinion. Today we are going to learn how to play Won't Get Fooled Again by The Who in the style of Van Halen. As many of you know, Van Halen covered this song on the Right Here, Right Now album, the CD, the DVD, and there's a really cool version of them playing it in 5150 Studios on YouTube. I've always been fascinated with this cover song because, you know, growing up in the 80s, classic rock was a huge, vital part of my life. And The Who, one of my favorite bands. Who's Next is a great album. I mean, they've got so many great albums, but Who's Next was the soundtrack to my childhood, even though it was a little bit before my time. It's one of those songs where when it comes on the radio, and the full version that is, and you listen to it, and if you're driving home, even if the song is still on when the radio, when you pull into your house, you got to just sit there and listen to the entire song until it's over, because your life is not complete until you hear the very end. At least that's how I feel anyway, and the Van Halen version gives me the same emotions, being a huge Eddie fan and a huge Who fan, and it's obvious how much of an influence Townsend and The Who had on Van Halen rhythm playing and their dynamics. Totally obvious. So anyways, let's take a look at it. The song is in standard tuning. It's in A. There is a modulation in the bridge, which I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to play this intro, this keyboard part on guitar like Eddie does. Okay, and this is going to be a quick lesson, so I'm going to give you some really good pointers and tips. And what I'm showing you, Eddie played this differently a lot of the times. It depended on his feel, his emotion, the way he wanted to do it. So I'm going to give you the vibe of it, okay? And it's going to be accurate, but you can play around with it a little bit, okay? So the song has 3 chords in the very beginning that are interesting. He's playing an A5 chord, which is like this. It's an A, E, A, and an E, okay? Then there's going to be this. It's like an A augmented chord with a sus4 on it. I guess you could call it a D minor. It's also a D minor with a F on the bass. So, alright, so anyway, so A augmented chord or a D minor with an F on the bass, and then there's going to be an F sharp minor. So that augmented chord is like this. If you take an A chord, and then you play the 3rd fret on the D string and the 3rd fret on the B string, but keep this A on the 2nd fret on the G string. Very Zeppelin-y, right? Sounds like In My Time of Dying. And then the F sharp minor is like this. You got your F sharp here on the D string. An F sharp minor is essentially an A major chord with an F sharp on the bottom of it. Alright, then it goes back to the A augmented or D minor chord, back to this A5. The reason this is an A5 is there's no major 3rd. We're not playing the C sharp in this chord. Alright, so that's an A5. Now we're going to take our pick. Eddie took his pick like this, and he would put it in between his middle finger and his palm of his hand, and he would kind of hide it like a magic trick, like David Copperfield, right? Because we're going to need it later. We're going to play this part with our thumb. And I'm going to sort of fake hybrid pick with my index finger and my middle finger. So I'm going to play the B string with my middle finger, and I'm going to play the G string with my index finger. So I'm going to do these chords. Okay? I'm going to be playing this melody. But you got to play these chords along with it like this. So this hand is doing straight eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. And when I'm not playing the low A. You can hit the low A initially, like, and let it ring out. But essentially all I'm playing is the D string, the G string, and the B string, like this. I'm letting my middle finger carry that melody. My pinky and my middle finger. And then we're going to switch to this D minor, A augmented chord. And then go F sharp minor, back to this chord. It's kind of tricky because you got to get this hand going in eighths and play these chord shape. And then play that melody with that top string. Okay, so up to speed it goes. The song starts off as big power A, like that. Then Eddie's gonna roll back on his volume to clean it up just a little bit because he's got a lot of gain on his amp, and then we're gonna go. And then this very end he goes. Okay, so what I'm doing there, this is an A on the high E string on the 5th fret. Okay, so I'm gonna play this A5 chord like I showed you earlier, but you can add this high A eventually. So you can add your ring finger and do three notes like this. I'm going to hit the low A with my thumb, like this, so it's a full chord. It's pretty awesome, all right? And then he hits the A, then G. Then he hits this A again, and Eddie trills on the G string. He'll go. So I'm doing this G string, and I'm going to go from G to an A, like this. I'm going to pull off and trill. So it goes. All right, so the verse goes like this. It's basically toggling between an A and a D chord. So I'm hitting A and a D, and then I'm going to hit this low A. And the third time he goes A, D, E, turns around G to D. Those are truncated. Then back to another verse. E, D, A, G. The chorus is very simple. The chorus just goes. He's kind of doing A sus4 to an A. I take my bow to a new constitution. All right, so that's where he does this A sus4 to an A. You could do a D to an A. It does that 6 times. The 1, 2, 2, or 4, 5, 6, G, then it goes G, G to an E, then it goes get on my knees and pray to a D, D sus4. You won't get fooled again, and back to the A, G, D. So the A and the G, D is really powerful, all right? So one thing Eddie does on this live, or on the live recording and in the studio version on 5150, when he goes, take a bow to a constitution. He's kind of palm muting. The bass carries that. There's a really cool Entwistle bass part on the Who version, and Mikey does it awesome on this recording. So the bass really kind of carries the weight on that chorus. But then when he does this G to an E, pick up my guitar and play, Eddie does this thing that goes, all right. So it goes, pick up my guitar and play. When he says, pick up my guitar and play, Eddie does this thing, this really cool riff. It's like a pound cake thing. He goes, then he goes. So in between these, this G to an E, you hear Eddie do a, it's just, he's kind of doing the E and the B string. It's not that important, but I'm, the accuracy of it, but, and then he does the G to an E again, then he kind of slides down, then he does this G sharp to an E, it sounds like. He slides up to this G sharp, then hits this E. So, to make more sense of it, and get on my knees and pray. Won't get fooled again. All right, so it does that verse and the chorus twice, completely the same, all the way through, okay? At the very end of the second chorus, there's an instrumental part where they get ready for the solo, and they're just jamming on. Eddie takes the lead, okay? And Eddie kind of phones this lead in a little bit. I mean, it's not anything like crazy, but they're playing the solo over this A, G, D thing. So Eddie does this thing where he's like, he hits a pinch harmonic. We're in F sharp minor pentatonic. Because technically the song is in A major, all right? Even though it avoids the major third quite a bit in these chords, he's playing F sharp minor pentatonic, A major pentatonic, and he hits sort of a pinch harmonic on this 4th fret on the G string. All right, and then he goes, he does like a little blues lick. I'm not showing you exactly what he does, because if you do something similar to this, it's gonna work, right? So. You just gotta do like a little blues lick in F sharp minor pentatonic. And then he does a bend where he goes. So what I'm doing there is I'm bending up on the 4th fret on the G string. You gotta wind into it like that. Bend it up that whole step, and then tap on the 9th and the 7th. That's a staple Eddie lick. A release. And then he does this thing where he goes. So I'm going to be up here on the B string on the 17th fret and go. That's a full step bend. And then go up here on the 20th and bend it up a full step. So from the very beginning, he's like pinch harmonic. And he does this little, this like a A minor pentatonic thing. So I'm going to go right down A minor pentatonic, but when he hits this, Eddie does this, he does like a trill thing, and he goes, very Eddie, you know. But you're going to have to put the whammy bar in there. All right, so and at the very end of the solo, he's going to come up. It goes to a bridge part at the end of the solo where they're going to go to a B. So when Eddie comes out, when he comes out of that guitar solo, where he's going to end it with this, it's like a finish what you started lick, and I think he probably plays it with his thumb and index finger. So what I'm doing up there on this lick is I'm going to end on a B. You can play it at the nut. Or, all right, so that lick is, we're going to be doing sixths. So I'm on the D string and the B string. D string is on the 11th fret. B string is on the 10th. Going to slide in. Then slide down 2 frets. All right, so we're 2 frets down, which is the 9 and the 8. Like that. I'm going to be on 7, 7. And then 5, 5. So it's like that. And then I'm going to be on the E, this E note, on the 7th fret on the A string. He does something like that. You could play it down here and go. Because they're going to go. I move myself and my family aside. That's the part that it's going into, all right? So the very end of that lick. If you want to go, I'm just on 7 and 5 on the A string, 7 and 5 on the low E, and end on that B note on the 7th fret. All right, and then the bridge part goes, I move myself and my family aside. It's a B to a E. If we happen to be left half alive, A, I'll get all my papers and smile at the sky, for I know that the hypnotized never lie. We go back to a B, all right? So B to E to an A to a B. All right, then he does this B, A, E thing. B, A, E. He does that 4 times. Then goes, he modulates back to the A, okay? And then does this punchy thing. And that's just A, G, D. And that gets us back into this dreamy part. So after he does that 4 times, then goes. and then it goes, it does that 3 times. And then the very outro of the song is just A to a D. And on the Van Halen version, they punch 7 times. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it's 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So 6 punches on the Van Halen version. I think they skip a verse. I think there's like an extra verse in the Who song in the real version, because the Van Halen version on the YouTube video on 5150 is only about 4.5 minutes long. So I think they kind of skip at the very end of the solo. They kind of make it their own, like Van Halen always do. So anyway, quick lesson today. Thought I'd throw some Van Halen at you, mixed with a little bit of Who. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, comment below, and as always, have a great day. Peace out.